So the Eagles are Super Bowl champions. How does that really affect the Colts going into next year? Let's go ahead and talk about it real quick.
We make the f***ing rules this house. No more talk. Just win. Let's go.
Touchdown! I-N-D-Y! Anthony Richardson.
So the Eagles pretty much just dominated the Chiefs in the Super Bowl, and the game wasn't close at all. And it got me thinking, okay, what do the Colts need to do to get on the path that the Eagles are on to possibly, compete for a Super Bowl or win a Super Bowl with this current, in this current era that we're in with Ballard, Steichen, and Anthony Richardson? The thing that I noticed the most about this Eagles team is how they play up front. Like their offensive line, just dominant in pass protection. Like they did okay in the running game. It's not going to show based on Saquon's numbers, but in my opinion, based on the defensive scheme from the Chiefs, they were determined to not let Saquon beat them. So when it came to passing and dropping back and passing, Jalen Hurts had like all day to pass. He got pressured a few times. He only got sacked twice, threw one dumb interception off of a blitz. But outside of that, played a decent enough game for them to win the Super Bowl. And compare that to what the Colts have up front. Our offensive line, and this is assuming that we get Will Fries back. I don't think our offensive line can be as dominant as the Eagles. In parts, we can be dominant. Like I think the left side of our offensive line is one of the best with Reinhardt, Ryman, Quentin Nelson, Ryan Kelly. We'll see Bortolini. I think he's going to be a solid player going forward too. So I think that left side is very solid, but it's super like cliche and you hear it all the time. But when you actually see it, it just makes so much sense where it's like football is won in the trenches. Like if you can't move and dominate the line of scrimmage, you're not going to win. And that applies to the other side of the ball also, the defensive line. The Eagles were able to sack, how many times did they sack Patrick Mahomes? They sacked him 6 times. Now, it's one thing to sack a quarterback that many times, but to sack him that many times without blitzing, 0 blitzing, you just got all that pressure with your front four. That's something that you see in like a video game. Like that's one of the more impressive stats I've ever heard. And I think for the Colts, they are working towards that. I feel like Ballard has been throwing darts at defensive linemen for the last, few years with like Latu, Grover Stewart, trading for Buckner, Kwity Paye, Dio, Samson Ebukon. Like he like, say what you want about Chris Ballard, but he knows what a championship team needs to look like as far as like where to start from. Now, he might not pick the right players, but he knows that the trenches are important. And if you can dominate the trenches on either side of the ball, you can win and compete for championships. Like, and that's pretty much what the Eagles did in that Super Bowl. They just dominated up front. Another thing that they do have on both sides of the ball, the Eagles, are playmakers. Like even if you don't have an elite quarterback, if you don't have like a top 5 guy, you can still win in this league with dominant trenches and playmakers. On the outside, we're talking like wide receivers, cornerbacks, safeties, guys that are going to go out there and catch the ball, do something with the ball, kind of like what Kenny Moore does for us when he intercepts the ball. There is an opportunity for him to take it to the house the way that Cooper DeJean did. Having players like Devontae Smith and A.J. Brown. Now, I think Alec Pierce as a number 2 is just as good as any explosive number 2 wide receiver. I'm just not certain that we have like an A.J. Brown where it's just like it doesn't matter the down and distance. We can trust him to go make a play. I'm not certain that we have that yet. Michael Pittman is solid, and hopefully, with Anthony Richardson's development, he can become as good as Jalen Hurts. Like if he can become like Jalen Hurts is probably about a borderline top 10 quarterback. But when you build your offensive line in a dominant fashion, You have a dominant running back, which we also have in Jonathan Taylor, and you have a deep threat and some playmakers out there. That's enough to compete offensively at least, and that's assuming Anthony Richardson does the right thing as far as his offseason, and we keep our offensive line intact, and maybe get another playmaker, whether it be through the draft with Tyler Warren or another tight end, or through free agency. But man, you look at these teams, you look at the Chiefs, even in losing the game. What I like about watching their defense is their defensive backs play up on the wide receivers. They try to make plays. They contest passes. They're running with people. And that's what I want to see next year with our new defensive coordinator. I want to see more blitzing, more simulated pressures, and I want our defensive backs to be, trusted to run with receivers one-on-one and make plays. And that's what it's going to have to take to compete in games like this, like the Super Bowl, like an AFC Championship, divisional matchups, anything like that. Big games in Jacksonville against the Jaguars, teams that we can't apparently seem to beat. And the Chiefs are on our schedule next season. So that's going to be almost like a litmus test. So we're going to do a lot more Colts content this offseason. Make sure you guys like, comment, and subscribe so you don't miss anything. We can build this community up. Let me know in the comments, are the Colts able to get close to what we saw here in the Super Bowl? Or are they just so far away that it doesn't even matter? Let me know in the comments, and I'll talk to you on the next one. Peace.
Thanks for watching, babe. Make sure to like this video and subscribe to the channel.